Stop! This is not a
YouTube poop.
This is the tale of an up-and-coming movie star named Roger Rabbit and a down-and-out private detective named Eddie Valiant.
Who Framed Roger Rabbit is a 1988 comedy mystery film directed by Robert Zemeckis and produced by Steven Spielberg. It is perhaps most well known for its groundbreaking and mesmerizing blending of traditionally hand-drawn animation with live-action environments. This is how the production team brought these cartoons to life. The film was far from the first time that filmmakers have tried to seamlessly meld together animation and reality. As we can tell from numerous short films like Winston McKay's Gertie the Dinosaur and the Fleischer Brothers' Out of the Inkwell, animators have been trying to realize the dream of mixing the cartoon world and the real world together, even during the medium's infancy. But it took over 70 years of experimentation later for this dream to be truly realized in Roger Rabbit. A dream that took dozens of technicians, animators, and visual effects artists over at Amblin, Disney, and Industrial Light and Magic to make a reality. Before any animation was done, all the live-action segments had to be shot first. Due to the fact that the animators had to draw directly on the film, they couldn't animate digitally, since computer-generated imagery wasn't widely used at the time. One would say that when they were shooting the live-action parts, the actors were working with invisible actors. They had to make sure that they maintained eye contact with the Toons, and interact with them as if they were living, breathing people, even if they weren't really there. Most of the time, it was like interacting and talking to thin air, though there were dummies that were used as stand-ins to help the actors condition themselves into a proper state of mind for some scenes. The Toons also had to interact with the live-action environment and handle real-world objects. The production team knew this, and they designed their sets in such a way that it would create the illusion that the Toons were really there. If a Toon was holding a real shotgun, there was a puppeteer on set moving that gun carefully with the string. If a Toon was spitting out real water, they built mechanisms and machines that simulated spitting out water. The team even went as far as building a human-operated robotic arm that replicated the actions of the operator, in order to simulate the animated character Baby Herman holding a cigar on the set itself. The production team had gone above and beyond to simulate all these effects and actions. But this was only the beginning. Once all the live-action scenes were done filming, it was time for the animation on the Toons to get started. As mentioned before, the animators had to draw, ink, and paint their frames on the film itself. All the scenes which involved the Toons interacting with real-world objects and humans were animated, which finally gave the scenes the proper context. Both the live-action production team and the animators had to keep two steps in mind when it came to the animation. 1. Don't make the Toons break eye contact with the humans and vice versa when they're looking at each other. This was important, as eye contact helps establish a sort of emotional connection between the two characters. Otherwise, they would just be staring at blank air and the illusion would be broken. When filming in live action, the actors were specifically directed to do this. If a mistake was made, the animators had to find some crafty solutions to solve the problem. Number 2. As the animation director Richard Williams put it, draw in perspective. If the camera moves, zooms in, or shifts to a different angle, the animators had to draw the characters into proper perspective.
I said to Bob, I've already done these commercials violating the rules, and I know you can use a moving camera. We have to draw every frame, and we have to draw every frame in perspective as the camera's coming closer or going around him. So there's a lot of work for us, and very expensive, but that's going to make it work.
These two steps were key in making sure that the Toons felt like they truly inhabited their live-action setting. But there was one more step to make sure that they really did feel like they lived in our world: compositing. This included adding lighting and shading to the characters to help give them a three-dimensional look. Each part, from the rim light, the shading, the tone mat, and the shadow cast on the environment, were all done on separate layers, and were optically layered on. This was often an arduous process, as they had to go frame by frame, add all these layers, and account for all the lighting changes that happened in these scenes. But this was the big finishing touch that was needed in order to make the Toons real, and they did exactly that. The film achieved groundbreaking and unique visuals like no other film at the time. It set the bar for future live-action animated hybrid films, though one could say that none of them had ever lived up to the standards set by Roger Rabbit. As such, it will be remembered for generations to come as one of the most visually impressive animated projects of all time.